welcome to episode 2 of our podcast. I'm Alex, one half of the Sober Experiment.
And I'm Lisa, the other half of the Sober Experiment. So today we're going to talk to you a little bit about hangovers and disgusting things we said. I just kind of want to say at the beginning, we're not glamorising drinking or what our hangovers were, although we will probably laugh quite a lot about the ridiculous things that we got up to. But this is in no way to glamorise what we did. It's more our story of how we got to where we are now.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Right, where to start? Okay, I think if you don't mind, can I just say that my hangovers, as you know, are disgusting. Were disgusting.
They are pretty disgusting. Well, they were pretty disgusting.
Really disgusting. I honestly, how many times have you heard out of my mouth, I'm critical?
Yeah, really, all the time.
And it really does, for me, feel like I'm critical. And when I used to say that, I'm critical, it was said really flippantly. But now thinking about it, I actually was critical. I must have been. No, really, I must have been. Think about it, right? All I spent my hangovers doing was crawling on all fours around the room, vomiting.
Honestly, I know what you mean. When you said crawling, I remember getting up to try, like if I hadn't have begged one of my kids to get me a glass of water. But you know where you can't stand up fully, so you crouch down like a hunchback going to get water.
Not that we've got anything against hunchbacks or anything.
Can you have that bit in?
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's just like, but that's what my husband.
I was thinking more of the Hunchback of Notre Dame. I wasn't thinking of general people with hunchbacks. But go on.
No, but that's what my husband used to say all the time. Like, can you stop walking around like a hunched up old lady? Because I would hang my head, and it was just the actual thought that if I don't look at the floor, it's going to wobble from under me, and I'm just going to be sick everywhere. I mean, nearly every hangover I've ever had from being maybe 20 has involved me vomiting somewhere.
I think it's really weird because the older I've got as well, I found that I vomited more the next day. So when I was younger, I used to drink too much and then maybe be sick on the night. Yeah. But as I got older, I would drink and drink and drink till ridiculous hours, and then I wouldn't actually be sick until the next day. Yeah. What's been your worst hangover that you remember, do you reckon?
Do you know what? I've had so many, but I've got a few that are really quite bad. And I think the worst one ever was when I went to Amsterdam.
Go on.
It was just horrific. So I drank and drank and drank in the day, and then went for food, continued to drink, and actually got in bed because I was that drunk. And to the point where my husband was watching a film in the hotel room. This is our one and only night for his birthday, by the way. And I fell asleep at about 7:30 in the evening. And then, in good old Alex style, woke up at 11 and wanted to go back out.
I remember you telling me about this.
And we did go back out, and he was so disappointed because you know what he's like. He was just like all comfy and ready to sleep then at that point. And I'm going, yeah, let's go out, let's go out. So we went up to the vodka bar at the top of the hotel and continued to drink till maybe 2 or 3. We had to be out of the room at 11, and I was that bad. Even as he was checking out, I was being sick in the room. He had to leave me in the room being sick. We then went to go to the Anne Frank Museum, which I never saw, by the way, because I was vomiting outside McDonald's in public.
Oh, it's so good as well.
Yeah, it was just disgusting. And but you've seen that, you know, like even when you and I went to Dublin.
Oh, God.
And I was sick in the street then.
You know what's really bad about this is you did used to be sick a lot.
I know.
Like, and I would at some points, like I'd have to have really, really drank a lot to get to the point where I was sick. But I used to quite pride myself on the fact that I wasn't sick, and I'd be like, oh, come on, let's have hair with the dog. Let's have another bit and then we'll be fine. Which is really bad looking back.
Have you done a tactical puke?
No, but I actually remember you telling me about tactical puking.
Well, a different friend told me how to do it. And basically, when you felt yourself going dizzy or seeing double, which used to happen to me, again, on a fairly regular basis, particularly in my 20s, this, not so much later on, because I'd just end up passing out and being sick the next day, and going to the toilets in whatever bar I was in, fingers down the throat, throw up, and then carry on to try. Like, what's the point in drinking it if you're going to throw it up anyway? Like, I don't get what I was doing there. It was just so that I could stay out and have more and more. Anyway, the next day, always disgusting, always sick in public places, always crawling round on all fours. But you know what? you're wrong, actually, because I remember, do you know, one of my biggest things, and we've always been very, very bestest of
I know what you're going to
friends.
say, because I've got it.
Picking you up.
Yeah, I've literally got it written down as one of my memories.
But it's my worst memory of you, because I was so sad that you, and yet you were coming to mind to drink. That's what I was sad about, if I'm honest, the fact that you couldn't drink.
And I'd got so drunk the night before. I remember it, honestly. I'd gone out the night before with friends, and these were kind of like my wild friends. I was going through a bit.
Because I was very tame, as you've heard.
Yeah, so flipping it, they must have been wild. But I'd recently gone through a breakup, hadn't I, with my ex-husband at the time. So I found that I was going out a lot at that point, and I really, really was. I was drinking to solve a lot of what I thought was solving a lot of things. I'd gone out till a ridiculous time, and I remember I really didn't want to come to see you the next day because I was so ill.
Even though you promised me you would go out, I begged you.
You did, and I was so ill, and I just kept thinking, please cancel, which I can't even imagine doing now, you know that. But I was just so ill, and then you came to pick me up. You was like, I don't care, I am coming to get you anyway. And you came to pick me up, and you had to stop the car on the motorway.
On the slip road.
I know, so I could throw up.
And then we went for food and you couldn't eat it, and
yeah, that was.
Did we have Hair of the Dog?
I'm not sure.
We will have done.
Yeah, I think I just went to sleep at your house. I remember we put a film on and I went to sleep.
Oh, yeah, great friend. Hair of the Dog, though, was more your thing than my thing. I could. That's the one thing about me, is when I was throwing up, that was it for me. I'd then detox for the week, feel like absolute rubbish for 3 days, and then be all right. But you dealt with it differently, didn't you?
I did, definitely. Hair of the Dog was something that I used to do a lot. I remember once me and my husband now had gone out the night before, and we'd been bought loads and loads of bottles of champagne and Prosecco for our engagement. And a few weeks after we'd gone out, and we was so drunk the night before, we did that a lot. And then the day after, I remember lying in bed saying, please go and get me some paracetamol. I couldn't even get up to get my own paracetamol or a glass of water. And he came up and he was like, I've got something better. And he came up with a bottle of champagne and 2 glasses. I thought it was amazing. I was like, oh my God, I remember taking a picture and putting it on my Facebook as if it was a really good thing. Like, look, I sent him down for paracetamol and this is what he came up with.
Medicine!
Yeah, and then other people saying, yes, go on, and thinking it was a really good thing. And that day, we ended up, we'd planned a hangover day. Like, that's another thing. Who plans a day to be ill?
Us.
That's true.
I think every drinker, actually.
Yeah, so we'd fully planned a hangover day. But yeah, we drank all day again. And then we got up about 5 o'clock and went to the bar up the road.
So you'd already had a drink.
So we'd already drank, and I remember I felt horrific, and I knew even like the day after, it was awful.
Do you know used to know me about that? I mean, I've truthfully, and I know this is going to make you feel a bit bad now, and it's not meant to, but I've only ever had Hair of the Dog with you. Like, honestly. So like I said, I've been sick, and that would be the end of it. But when we went to Dublin, I mean, we were out all hours. I think I was sick on the car park then as well, as we got out of the taxi.
You were sick outside the restaurant, and poor people.
That was the day after. That was the day after. And it's not even funny. It's actually revolting if my child was like that. Anyway, I remember we went out and we had our suitcases to go back to the airport, and we were like quite happy to miss our flight that day, weren't we?
Yeah.
And we went out and we had another drink, and then walking to the bus or taxi.
Yeah, we got a taxi.
I was sick again on the floor, but still carried on because we got the taxi driver to take us for a Guinness.
Yeah, we did.
And he was like, what? We didn't even have enough money to pay him, and he just thought we were the funniest girls.
Oh, I know. He was lovely, actually.
It was lovely.
It was a really nice taxi driver.
But like, again, what a risky situation, because he was lovely from what we remember, but we were drunk, and we got in that taxi and we let him take us off the road into a little bar somewhere.
Yeah, we did.
Like, I know we've both put each other and ourselves at risk so many times.
Yeah, definitely. I think as well, don't you find, the longer I've stopped drinking now, the more I remember things. I think I subconsciously blocked so much out. So now when I talk about stories, I think, God, people must think you were absolutely wild. And I don't know whether it's just I'm remembering so much more now.
No, I mean, at the beginning when you first stopped drinking, and I know you had it because I remember phoning you when I had it afterwards, you forget. Your memory just goes all together. You can't remember what you're doing, can you?
No, it is really strange.
For a few weeks. But yeah, I'm the same. Everything comes flooding back. Like, I've got this awful lingering memory now of when I nearly got my ex-husband arrested. It's true. I sat in a tunnel, drunk. I refused to get up off the floor and he was trying to pull me up. And then obviously a police car drove past and I was just refusing to get up just because I was being argumentative, drunk. And he was trying to get me to go back to his mum and dad's house. It was way before we were married. We were just 20, 23, 24, something like that. And he was trying to get me to get up. And the police pulled up at the side and said, "Are you okay?" to me. And I said, "No, this man's harassing me."
That just doesn't surprise me with you at all.
They actually said, "Look, if you don't leave her alone, we're going to have to arrest you." And he had to walk off and leave me in a really dangerous place. And that's why he was trying to get me up, because it had a really inappropriate name, this thing. They called it, I'm really sorry about this, but they called it Rape Alley.
Oh my God.
Because there was that many assaults happened in it. It was the teenager kind of slang for this area. It was an avoid at all costs, which is massively disgusting in itself. But I was in there, knowing its history, knowing its reputation. That's why the police were patrolling it. And in the end, I got up, staggered about 10 yards down the road in what felt like 10 minutes. I was probably just walking around in circles. And the police ended up putting me in the back of the car and taking me back to his mum and dad's house. I'd only met him 6 months ago. Like 6 months previous.
Can you imagine what they thought of this?
Well, no, I didn't need to imagine. When she opened the door, like, the police knocked on the door and said, "Do you know?" She said, "Yeah, it's my future daughter-in-law." And then my ex-husband appeared behind her and the police looked at me, and honestly, how I did not get arrested for wasting police time, or I don't know. But she proper told me off like I was a child, I suppose I was being.
So she should.
It's like when we went into Manchester, like, we've got a bit of a police theme, haven't we?
Yeah, we have got a police theme. I can't believe you found that picture of me with the policeman. See, I used to delete everything. This is the thing. I used to delete everything. I would wake up the next day and be so ashamed. I would like piece together my night from the night before, and then any pictures where I looked absolutely horrific on, which would be like the last 15 pictures of my phone with random strangers, I'd just delete them. So to me, then that was done. It was gone. It was out of my memory. Whereas I've never seen as many drunk photos of myself since me and you have been looking for drunk photos, and
like
you keep them all. You keep everything, which has been a good thing, really. But yeah, I used to delete everything.
Yeah, the photo is of you posing for a selfie with a policeman. But recalling that night, I mean, we'd gone out for lunch that day, hadn't we?
Yeah, we had.
We'd gone out for lunch, and this was now about 4 a.m. In Manchester's gay village, and you were asking him to pretend to arrest you, which he wouldn't do because he's not allowed to put the cuffs on you, but you were absolutely insisting, "Put the cuffs on, I want a selfie, put the cuffs on."
Like, see what I mean? I'm so traumatised by this. Like, I've definitely erased that from my memory because it's not like, and yeah, I'm really traumatised by this story.
But yeah, you wanted him to. Anyway, he wouldn't, but he did have a selfie with you.
I lost my phone that night.
But again, another dangerous situation. I left you. I got in a taxi before you and left you at 5 a.m. outside a takeaway. I just left you.
I vaguely remember that takeaway. But yeah, I didn't have a phone or anything.
But why did I leave you? I would never, ever put you in that position like this. Never.
Not sober, definitely not. But I think that's what it does to you. Drink changes. It makes you do things that you wouldn't normally do. Like, I've done so many things that I wouldn't normally do. And like I said before, for me, the day after, I would delete things and try and erase my full memory of the night before. And sometimes I wouldn't even do that bad things. But, you know, like, you've always got that one friend, and this wasn't you, because I think what we used to do was kind of say, "Oh, it's all right. It was a night out. We had a really good time. Forget it." But I always had another friend that could not wait to ring me and tell me, like, the ridiculous things I'd said or done. And it used to really, really affect me. I used to get so they call it hangxiety, don't they? And I used to get that so bad.
We're going to go into that more.
Yeah, we are.
Next week, aren't we? Sorry, in our next episode. Yeah, I mean, dangerous situations then, I think we've both been and we've both put each other in them. We left each other in Ireland.
We did leave each other in Ireland.
And again, anything could have happened to either of us there. That was for a good couple of hours as well. I don't even remember what was going on during that couple of hours. I remember meeting up with you afterwards, and then we couldn't get a taxi back because there was some Grand Prix Formula One thing going on, something.
You know, I can barely even remember much of that weekend. Again, just through photographs. Like, when I look at photographs from that weekend, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that. I don't remember much else. I remember the airport.
Oh, do you want to talk about the airport? It's up to you.
No, let's leave the airport.
We did try and miss the flight on purpose, and I remember you daring me at the security gate you were going, go on, which we did to each other, and we still do it to each other now.
Yeah, we still,
you know, like on that rope swing that you went on the other week sober, and I was going, go on, we still do that. But you were saying to me, go on, and trying to encourage me to kick up a bit of a stink at the security gate so they wouldn't let us on the flight.
No. I don't remember that.
So we had an excuse to stay another night. None of us thought that actually might end up with one of us spending a night drunk and disorderly anyway.
You know what, too, like, a few things with this, right, is one, I genuinely don't remember that because, and I feel I hate listening to stories like this, and anybody else that has probably, you know, been, I don't know, I just hate hearing things like that because I can't imagine that I would do that.
Well, you wouldn't know,
it's just so far away from who I am, and I think looking back, if that's the type of person that alcohol made me, I'm glad I'm not that person anymore, because I'd never, like, that's so stupid. And who tries to miss a flight? Like, you either miss it or you don't.
With the other two friends that we went with.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was so
because the other
bad.
two friends, do you remember they went to the cinema to do something normal on the day after a big
And we
drink?
thought, like, they were so boring.
We did. We were, like, so critical of it, where we were just like, oh, what are they doing that for on the last day? You and me had to go out and get more drunk. And really, when we turned up then, if you remember that whole flight, the whole thing ended bad,
awful.
didn't it?
The whole thing was awful.
It did end up, not for us, we just thought we were in the right, but really they were sober, we were drunk, and now you can see so clearly we were probably being quite obnoxious.
We was being really obnoxious, really obnoxious. Yeah. It's really embarrassing.
Is that the flight that we were snorting gin on as well?
No, we snorted gin on the way there.
I don't want to talk about that. Actually, I don't know why I've brought that up. It's disgusting.
That was but it's things like that. Like, I wouldn't have ever told anybody this. So now I am sober. They said, don't be ashamed of your story because it might help other people. I'm not sure what us snorting gin would help anybody. But these were things that we'd do that I'd be so embarrassed to tell people about even then.
Yeah, and if you saw younger people, or even at the same age as us, doing that, you'd be embarrassed, wouldn't you, for them? You'd just be embarrassed for them. If you saw them on a flight behaving how we'd behaved, you would be embarrassed. Do you know what else I remember? This is disgusting. This is actually disgusting. And I can't believe I'm going to admit to it, but I am. It just popped in my head now.
I'm literally cringing. If anybody could see me now, I'm scrunched up in a ball with my hands over my eyes.
I was on my way back from a flight from Cyprus to England, and I got talking to two men. And this is when I was travelling home when I lived in Cyprus for that year. And I was talking to two men and having a drink with them. Never met them in my life, but I have to be the life and soul of the party and grab the attention. And the middle man, the guy in the middle seat, dared me to spit a grape out at the person in front of me, and I actually did it.
On a plane?
On a plane. I'm really, really ashamed of it. And at the time, I was laughing my head off. I thought I was really... Rolled my tongue up with just a tiny bit of grape skin and he landed in his hair. But if you're out there, I am so sorry. Please don't have me done for anything. I would never, ever... Stop laughing.
I'm literally traumatised.
It's disgusting. I'm actually disgusted. Even though I'm laughing, that's a nervous laugh. I'm shocked and disgusted. And I've tried to block that out.
I can't even look at you.
But I've tried to block that out.
I think that's it. I think you do try and block things out. One of my worst times was with my husband, and we was going to Lanzarote, and we'd been out all day and all night. We had a massive argument that night, and I'd said, right, that's it, I'm not coming on holiday with you, you go on your own. I fully remember in my mind thinking, right, the kids are at the dad's, I'll just stay at Katie's for a week. that's what I thought in my head. I'll stay at my friend's for a week and I'll hide, and then everyone will think I've been on holiday. And this were like, I thought these were logical thoughts because I was drunk.
Yeah.
We got to the airport. He drove to the airport, and that like should never ever have happened. We don't remember where we parked the car. How we got on the flight, I still don't know to this day, because that was like horrific. I literally slept the whole flight, and when we got there, my hangover must have kicked in, and I started with the shake. My knees were shaking, my hands were shaking. I got off the plane, ran to a corner, threw up in my hand, which I'm not good with. I don't like sick. I don't like talking about sick. So for me, that was like really traumatising. And I remember being on the back of the coach to our hotel and my legs just shaking that much. I'd fully poisoned myself, like completely and utterly poisoned myself. I was so disgusted in myself.
And that's the thing.
And that was the start of a holiday.
But that's where anxiety comes from, isn't it? It's the shame or the not remembering what you did the night before. Do you know, you do know this, and I'm just going to briefly touch on this, but here's another thing, injuries. Yeah. Like, I broke my arm at a funeral on a dance floor. Now, who is dancing at a funeral? I do not know. I sound like a really disrespectful pig, and I'm really not.
I know, it's spitting grapes at people, dancing at funerals, that like. I think you're looking worse than me.
I do definitely look worse than you. But
that's why she had to throw in the bit about me trying to get you not kicked off a flight.
So I definitely on that occasion broke my arm, slipped, broke my arm, fractured it completely. Went home, went to bed. Even like my husband was poking it, saying there's nothing wrong with it, there's nothing wrong with it. It was actually full on broken. I had to go into A&E. Now, when I think back to that, I went in A&E, I must have absolutely stunk of booze. God, yeah. They'll have known I was drinking the night before. I fractured my wrist. And then you and me tried to cut that cast off in Ireland. In fact, you know what? We used that cast to talk to everybody and anybody.
Yeah, we did. It was like a really good story. We were dead proud of ourselves. It was like...
Well, you had the video of me falling.
Oh, it was funny though. I'm not, it was.
I'm so glad it's disappeared.
I can still see to this day you dancing and the actual fall where you broke your arm, and it was really funny.
But my husband just looked at me as if like something had gone off and just dragged me back up by my broken arm. But anyway, but that injuries, all of these stupid things are all attributed directly to drink. And the next day you feel shocking, and it is anxiety, isn't it?
It's awful.
And I think that's where we're moving to on our next podcast, isn't it? And what actually made us start to think about stopping drinking, because it came from, for you, anxiety, and for me, not being able to tolerate the absolute critical state that I was in every time I'd had a drink. Because it got to we probably sound like a pair of thugs, to be honest with you. I might speak for myself, but this wasn't every day. This was just, we were binge drinkers.
We were binge drinkers, and especially when me and you got together, because we've been friends for such a long time, we didn't know anything. We'd forgotten what it was like to spend time with each other without drink. So every time we met, it had to be about drinking for us. So we would arrange big nights out or weekends away, so we could just drink. Well, they used to hate it, and we'd be like, what's the problem? We're best friends. Now I can kind of see why they might have
I fully see it. I fully see it, because we were just bad news together. Because what could have been an isolated incident of me behaving badly and somebody stopping me, or you behaving badly and somebody stopping you, when we were together, we didn't stop each other. We used to find it funny that the other one was doing something worse than we would have done.
Which is like, I cannot, honestly, to see, like I remember we've got a video of you on your 40th birthday where you're at the end of the night and you're slurring your words, and I remember thinking that was hilarious and you must have had a wonderful night, and look at my best friend, she's so drunk. Like now, it would absolutely traumatise me to see you acting or talking like that. I'd be so sad about it, and I just can't imagine that we would be like that with each other and egg each other on, and it makes me quite sad, really, to think that that's what we did, and that we thought it was funny to like breaking your arm. Like, that's really not funny.
Trying to cut the cast off in.
I've even laughed today, and I feel really bad about it.
Shouldn't.
But it's like, that isn't funny, is it? Trying to cut your cast off an arm isn't funny.
Being sick in public places isn't funny.
Spitting grapes at people isn't not really funny, is it?
No, it's just nerve-wracking. Do you know though, that again, and I just, before we finish, which we need to, because we have talked quite a lot today, I think, contrasting mine and your 40th birthdays, I do not remember mine. I was drunk when I got there. I was definitely drunk throughout it. I remember vaguely singing on stage badly. I've got the video of that, which is horrific. And I'm not a bad singer.
No, you were a lovely singer. I love your
And
singing.
it was horrific. When I look back at it, I'm embarrassed that I even did that, because people who didn't know me and didn't know I was a reasonable singer have seen that, and that's what they think I'm about, which is shocking for me. It's very traumatising, that. Then, like you say, fell off my chair at the end of the night, was sick. Everyone else was able to carry on and have a party, but because I'd just overdone it, like I always did, I couldn't. And the next day of that, it was horrific. But in fact, I've lied to you.
You had hair of the dog.
With my sister in the garden, and everybody came round. Because you came round, I think, briefly.
No,
Pulled
I
up
didn't.
outside in your car.
Oh, yeah, we did. Did we drop something off?
Some presents or something. Probably some more Prosecco for me to finish in the garden.
Yeah, probably. Let's feed my best friend with loads of wine and make a
But you stopped drinking shortly after that.
Myself.
And your birthday, in contrast, was just beautiful, wasn't it? It was lovely.
It was so nice. We had it in the morning. Who has a birthday party in the morning?
It was brilliant. And the
sober
photos of
person.
that don't look like anyone's melted like mine did. Oh. But anyway, so I think that's where we've got to leave it, even though we've got hundreds more stories.
There's so many more stories, and
Tug of war? We said we're going to call it Tug of War, didn't we, for next time?
we did. Yeah, sorry, I was just looking to see if I could remember what we were talking.
No, we're going to talk about that stage now where anyone who's tried to stop drinking or even considered stopping drinking, you'll know what I mean with this. It's the stage where you really want to stop drinking, but you can't picture a life without it, and you dread it. And what happened during that stage, what got us to the point. So the way that this is going to unfold after this one is now we want to move into what made us get sober, how we got sober, and the benefits of that. So we hope you've enjoyed today, and we'll see you in about 3 to 4 weeks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.